All right, Matt Patron is coming in. Let's bring him in. He has gone to Kickstarter to get the funding to make his own documentary about his brother who was killed in action in Afghanistan, right from a mass shooting call to this. It's a hit in the face with a shovel, shootings.
It's a violent day.
Killed in action. It's a lot of violence and downers on Rover's Morning Glory. Good morning, Matt. How are you, my man?
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So you're from the area, and your brother was from the area, right?
We're from Canton.
Okay. You went to Kickstarter to come up with money to make a documentary.
Yes.
Did you have any filmmaking experience?
Yeah, I actually went to Stark State College in the area.
World-renowned for their film school. Lots of great directors have come out of there.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah, I went to school there, and I just do weddings and things like that, but this is my first feature, so...
You go to Kickstarter and you say, hey, I need some money for this. How much money did you raise?
I raised 27 grand.
Was that enough?
Well, I had spent a lot of my own money before, I even went to Kickstarter because I wanted to do something more with it. So Kickstarter kind of helped me finish it up.
All right. So you had the inspiration for this because your brother was killed in action. Why make a documentary about it? What inspired you to do that?
Well, I have a 4-year-old and a 1.5-year-old, and they're never going to know him. And, that was my way to show them who my brother was, because that's kind of, how I creatively express myself. And also, I feel like a lot of those guys, they do things every day that we don't hear about. Dan cleared the way down there of explosives, so he could protect his guys, he could protect the people in the area, and a lot of people you don't hear about that a lot. And I just wanted to honor him and honor the guys he was with.
Dan was your brother. You were his older or younger brother?
I'm his older brother.
So you're his older brother. Yep. He joined the Marines right when he turned 18?
Yeah, right when he actually, the day that the towers fell, I remember him going to my mom and saying, I want to be in the Marine Corps.
So the day of the September 11th attack, that really motivated him?
It motivated him to go into the Marine Corps. Yeah.
You go, hell no, I don't want a part of that. I'm too big of a pussy. Yeah. I mean, that's what it's. Look, I give credit to anyone who could do that. I know I would be the worst soldier in the world. I could not do it. They would drop me off in Afghanistan. That helicopter would land. I'd be grabbing onto the skids.
On the rails.
Yes.
Right?
That thing would be taken off. I'd be crying, Mommy.
Pull me in.
yeah, right. I mean, seriously, I know myself. But he's, how old was he on September 11th? Was he like 16, 17 years old?
Yeah, he might even been a junior. I can't remember the actual.
So, in 2003, I think he joined the Marines. 2 years later,
yes,
after
he graduated 2003, and that's when he joined. Yep.
What did your parents think when he came and said, "I want to join the Marines" on September 11th? Did they think, well, maybe this is a passing phase?
Yeah, they did. And then it turned out that he was pretty serious about it, and we didn't want him to. Honestly, who wants their loved one to go in harm's way? But he made the decision, and a lot of the guys that I talked to, said he loved it so much they think he'd do it again.
I think a lot of families are torn. If your son or daughter comes to you and says, "I want to join the military," you go, "Well, that's an honorable thing to do." But on the flip side,
sure,
you go, "Well, this is going to put them in a battlefield,
right?
They could be killed. No one wants that for their own son." So your parents and you were nervous about this from the get-go, obviously. He did how many tours of duty over there in the Middle East?
He did 2 tours in Iraq, and he did 1 in Afghanistan, and this, was his final. He actually extended his deployment so he could be with and see the guys home that he was with because he loved them so much.
He did the bomb disposal is what he did?
Yes, he did. He was an explosive ordnance disposal technician.
And what do they do exactly? They dismantle bombs, the roadside bombs, the IEDs, that sort of stuff?
Yep, they go up to the IEDs and they, determine what they need to do to get it disarmed, or they blow it up so nobody else, steps on it.
It seems to me, now I'm an idiot, but it seems to me like there should be some sort of better way as opposed to sending a guy up there to do that.
Yeah.
Can't you shoot the thing or run a robot over it or do something?
They do have robots. A lot of the area that they're in, though, the terrain's so rugged that they can't even, the robots are really heavy. They can't even get the robots in some of these places that they're at. So that means that they have to go up to it and
What was it the 2 times that he was over in Iraq before he went to Afghanistan? What was that like for you and the rest of your family?
It was difficult, but there was a difference from when he was in Iraq to when he was in Afghanistan. You always research where they are. And, he guarded a door. That's what he always told people when he was in Iraq. When he was in Afghanistan, he was in Sangin. And, a lot of the men that I speak to in the film, they said it, is pretty much one of the most dangerous areas in Helmand, in the Helmand province, which is comparable to Fallujah. So, I mean, the things that go through your head are horrible, and to have that be realized, it's something that I wouldn't wish on anybody, and it's something I'll never forget.
When he extended his tour voluntarily, did you or anyone try and talk him out of it, or did you even know that he had done that?
We knew he did it, but Dan, you couldn't talk him out of what he wanted to do. And, that seeing his guys home, that was important to him. And we knew how important that was to him.
He, at one of these points, he comes back, I think, from Iraq. He gets married?
Yeah, he got married. He married Cody, and she lives in Carolina. And now she lives in Florida, actually. She moved when he was killed. So,
and so how old was he when he got married, your brother, Dan?
Oh, that's a good question. It was probably 24, 23.
Okay. He met this girl while, or how did he meet this girl?
He met her, I think he met her at a bar, actually.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's usually how these hookups sort of take place, right?
Yeah.
Man in uniform, Marine,
I think a friend
bar,
introduced him,
yep, sure. And so he comes back, he gets married. He planning to start a family. Did they have any kids? They were
trying to have kids. The only kids they had were dogs. So, because my brother rescued dogs. Great Danes, he loved them. But they were never fortunate enough to have kids. So
Matt Patron is on with us. He has a film called Collecting Sgt. Dan, which he has funded himself. Well, he also got donations from Kickstarter. And this is about his brother who was killed in action in Afghanistan. There's a showing of this on May 10th at the Canton Palace Theater. And you can reserve tickets. It's free to go see this?
They're free, yep.
CantonPalaceTheater.org. It's free, but you have to reserve, obviously, that way they make sure that they have enough seats for everyone to come in. So how was he killed in action? He was killed when?
He was killed on August 6th of 2011. And he went up to an explosive. He'd done hundreds before. The sergeant that was with him at the time told me that, they went back and forth, and my brother said, well, you got the last one, so I'll get this one. His knee went down, and no sooner, did his knee go down than it went up. And, they...
Why is it? I mean, was there a trigger that they didn't see buried in the dirt? Was it just the vibration of a knee going down next to this explosive that made it go off? Or was it a remote control thing?
I don't know if we'll ever know that. That's something we asked. One of the big things actually we were concerned about was, if he if he felt any pain from that, and the answer was no. But it could have been any one of those things. It could have been,
because I see these videos of these asswipes. You know, they're sitting back there, they're videotaping that. Right. They fire these things remotely sometimes by hand.
Did he have a suit on, like the movie The Hurt Locker? He'd wear that full body suit with
Right.
the helmet.
Right.
They do have the suit. At the time, I don't think he was actually wearing that suit. When we actually went to Dover to meet his remains, I asked that question, and they said, it wouldn't have mattered.
So he was killed in August of 2011, you said?
Mm-hmm.
How did you get the news?
Well, 2 Marines, went to my mother's door. I was actually at the Hall of Fame parade that day, and it was the first time we ever, took my daughter to see a parade. So it was a special morning for her. And we took a friend, and on our way home, she started crying. And I looked at her, and she's actually my assistant director on this. And I said, why are you crying? And she wouldn't tell me. And I said, is my brother alive? And she didn't say anything. And I knew when she didn't say anything that, he was gone. And then when I pulled in my driveway, my uncle had been standing there waiting for me all morning. And I don't remember much after that. I remember just laying on his bed, holding a picture of him and pretty much sobbing, saying all the things like, why'd this happen? Being angry at everyone. But yeah, that's how we found out.
What was your mother's reaction? Did she just break down?
Yeah, both my mom and dad, we've had a really rough 3 years. And I think that the making of this has kind of helped at least me and my family heal a little bit, just because we can confront, those memories and learn things about Dan that, maybe we didn't know, how he was in the field and what kind of guy he was, the Marine side of him,
I could see how it could be healing, but I could also see, like, if your parents, they watch this, this could be very painful for them to view, I bet.
Yeah, it is. It's been painful, and it was painful to assemble, and I think it still is painful to watch. But my mom, has told me on several occasions that she's happy to have this memento because it's, all these memories of him collected in one place. And that's why I chose to call it Collecting Sgt. Dan, because it's all those things that I believe made him special, in that one place.
You went and you talked to some of the Marines that served with him?
Yes.
I'm guessing, I haven't seen this documentary, but I'm guessing you probably tell some of his background as well, even before he joined the Marines.
Yeah, a little bit
of that, and that sort of stuff. Did you find out anything when you made this documentary that was unexpected, that you didn't know?
Honestly, I didn't. Some of the stories, I'd never heard before. But it was more of a reaffirmation of what I knew inside that I wanted to hear other people say about him, like how funny he was, and how he would, at the drop of a hat, just help anybody with anything. And I feel like those are the important things that I want my kids to know about him. So it wasn't like I found out like big, deep, dark secrets about him or anything like that.
He had a secret family and 10 kids in Asia.
No, nothing like that. But yeah, I found out, from those guys what they thought of him. And, through the process, I kind of feel like even though I lost my brother, I gained these other brothers that, were his.
The people that served with him, and the guy, you talked to the guy that was there when he was killed, right?
Yes.
how painful is it for those guys when they lose someone? I mean, you obviously you lose your brother. That we know is painful. What's it like for these guys?
They have some of the guys are more composed. Some of them have a hard time talking about it. You know, one of the guy that I love this guy, Staff Sergeant Johnny Morris, was my brother's partner, and he stepped on an IED and he lost one of his legs. And my brother is the one that had to apply the tourniquet to his leg and, you know, get him onto the chopper so he could, you know, get out of there. And I mean, all those things, all those emotions that, you know, he was feeling at that time, you know, when he talks about it, you know, I can feel that, I can sense that coming back. And although it was difficult for them to share, like, I'm so grateful that they did. They're just an amazing group of guys. So,
your brother's remains were sent over.
mm-hmm.
My understanding, it wasn't a full casket. They basically, it's like a box or something. Is that?
Yeah, it was a box, and that's what we met in Dover. About a couple weeks later, we got a phone call that there had been more of Dan recovered. Because they do a post-blast analysis afterwards. They try to, you know, get everything. But, you know, that unfortunately didn't happen. So we found ourselves making another trip to Cleveland, and the other, you know, parts of him that weren't in, you know, the first, I would just call it a casket, you know, were there for us. So that funeral, we had 2 funerals. That one was harder than the first one.
Why was that harder? This the second one.
Just because of, you know, the violence that seeing your brother like that, you know, brings up in my head. I don't know if it was harder for my parents, but it was harder for me. Just, you know, this is the same little boy I played with in our backyard. We used to make, you know, VHS movies with our friends, and, you know, to see him in this way, you know, is disturbing and difficult to see. So,
yeah, you know, I can't even imagine some of these things, like the people on 9/11, which inspired your brother to join the service. These are people that he would literally get a fragment, if anything. Some people didn't get anything.
Mm-hmm.
That has to be the worst. I can't think of anything worse than that. Matt Patron is here with us. His film is called Collecting Sgt. Dan. It's going to be shown this Saturday, May 10th, at the Canton Palace Theater. There was an outpouring from the local community after this happened, right? I mean, were you surprised? I mean, I don't know if surprised is the right word, but I mean, this is quite the outpouring of support for your family, for your brother Dan. I mean, I hear the police department was, I don't know what the word is, but they like took a car and made it like his car or whatever, and things like that.
The Dare car, yep.
How did that make everyone feel? Were you surprised by this outpouring?
You know, just growing up in Perry Township, like, I always knew that, you know, it was a special community. You know, we went to high school there, so we knew people. And it's not that we were surprised, but we feel very special to be a part of that community, because everybody just came together. And I can't say enough about, you know, the people who supported this through Kickstarter in our community.
A guy just called in.
I'm in awe of it.
Sorry to interrupt. The guy just called in with the high school with Dan.
What, can you hear him? I don't know if your headphones are turned up over there. If you
can't actually.
There's a volume knob right over there. Dumb always jumps in right at the opportune moment there. Yes.
Well, how do I know he can't hear? What the hell? How am I supposed to know?
I don't know. The guy's in the middle of a sentence. Dumb's
He's
like,
the most important part.
Yeah, right. This guy here, he goes, so then we're there, and my brother and Dumb's like, hey,
I went to high school.
Hey, by the way, do you know anyone that could be on the Thursday hookup this week?
Okay, never mind that. I was going to say something nice.
I'm
but
sorry,
let's move on. Then.
No, come on, Dumb. Come on, hey, come on. You got the attention on you now. What is it? Wow.
No, it wasn't about me. It's not no attention due to me.
Go ahead. No,
that's okay.
Come on, Dumb. Please salvage this somehow, please. What was he going to say, Charlie?
I don't know. I'm just saying we went through the whole thing now. Now we have to hear what it is.
Yes. What is it?
It's not worth it now.
A guy called in and what?
No, I forgot. I forgot what he said.
Oh, my God. Can you believe Dumb? Can you believe this guy? Wow. Right in the middle of this this touching story.
Yeah.
I mean, my God, I've never seen anything like this before. In the middle of a sentence.
I would have probably. It wasn't in the middle of a sentence. I waited, but
No, he was. Play back.
He's in the middle of a sentence.
Because he can't hear me because the producer didn't turn up his headphones, so he doesn't know. So there you go. So yell at the right person.
Wow.
It's good now. I can hear you.
Wow.
I can hear myself too. So.
Wow, I mean, jeez. Wow, almighty. Dumb's going to show up at the screening, right? The poignant moment of this documentary on Saturday. Dumb's going to show up in front of the screen. Hey, everyone. Hey, I just want to let you know my girlfriend's really hot.
Really? Wow.
Have you ever seen anything like this?
Never.
I mean, this guy's near tears. I'm sorry I'm laughing, but this guy's like friggin' crying over here. And Dumb's jumps into the middle of... Oh, God, sorry.
That's
wow.
okay.
It's so funny.
Woo! Woo. Oh, jeez.
Oh, man.
Sorry. Whew. There's take it from the lows to the highs.
It's good, man. It's good.
Whew, Dumb's probably after the show's going to go, dude, I was just trying to lighten the mood. I mean, we had a pretty dark show today, so I was just... I knew you'd get a laugh out of this.
You know me, man. You got it. That's definitely my goal there.
Woo.
You got it, guys.
Oh, God.
Funny.
Oh, oh man. Oh, man. How do I recover from that? Yeah, where were we? What? I'm sorry, Matt. Where were we in the middle of your story?
We were talking about the community and how awesome it is.
Oh, wow. I mean, you never saw disrespect like that from the community, did you? I mean, jeez, those guys from the God Hates Fags people show more respect. I mean, jeez, they'll show up and protest a funeral. I mean, please. Oh, wow. Woo. Well, listen. I'm. If someone wants to see this, if they can't make it out to this, and this is a free showing that you're doing, Saturday at the Canton Palace Theater. It's free, but the tickets have to be reserved. CantonPalaceTheater.org. If people want to watch this, is there another way? Can they get this on DVD or Blu-ray or online? Or
yes, we're actually going to be selling copies on DVD and Blu-ray afterward. And also, I've been working with iTunes, an iTunes aggregator to get it onto iTunes. That's not all finalized yet, but it's also going to be on Amazon. And we're going to be setting something up. It's not ready yet, but we're going to be setting something up on the Collecting SgtDanMovie.com website where you can order a copy through that as well. And
it's SGT for if you're spelling this out, CollectingSgtDanMovie.com. Put SGT in there for Sergeant, the abbreviation. Matt Patron has made this about his brother, Dan, who was killed in action in Afghanistan. Jeez, other than the dumb thing, which was more awkward? Kanye West interrupting Taylor Swift in that award speech, or Dumb interrupting Matt there a moment ago?
Right here. I mean, my God.
I can't believe it. Oh, God.
I apologize. I didn't even hear it.
Wow.
No, it's not you, man. We apologize for him.
Oh, jeez. Wow. Well, listen. Matt, no, seriously, thank you for coming in and sharing this story. I mean, this is a...
Yeah, sorry for your loss.
You know, I will say this, that sometimes I'm guilty of this, too. You'll see stuff that happens in the news, or you see so-and-so was killed in action, or 2 soldiers were killed over there. I hate to admit this, but I'm just as guilty as anyone else. It goes right over your head most of the time because you don't know them. They're not from the area. You forget that everyone that is killed there has a family or a brother like you, mother, wife, those sorts of things. And it's easy for us to lose track of that, especially because we've been involved in these things for 10 plus years now in these. When your brother's killed in Afghanistan, do you have, I don't know, just because I know how I am, I would have, even if it wouldn't necessarily be rational, I would have an intense hatred to just like anyone in Afghanistan. I'd go, I want to go over there and kill every single one of them. What were your feelings after the fact?
That's hard to put into words. Because I know that there are good people there, and therethere's also people who want to do harm to people. And yeah, I went through those moments where I was so angry. You want to make them pay for, what they did, but I mean, it's not going to solve any of my problems. And this is kind of, my way, to come to terms with that and to kind of try to get, the hopeful things that Dan taught me instead of focusing on, the anger. Try to, get those hopeful things to speak instead of, all the ill will I had at the time.
I will say this, that what was the movie that came out with Marky Mark?
Just came out now?
Lone Survivor. Yeah. Now, there's an example. You go, oh, man, I hate all these mother effers over there. But I haven't seen this movie, but I know the story.
Oh, it's good.
One of these guys actually takes that wounded Navy SEAL and protects him and helps him. And hides him. And
risking his own life.
So, it is easy to say, oh, I want to kill all of them. But there are, some of these people are just... I talked to a politician, Rick Santorum, the other day, and I said, Rick, there was a drone strike in Yemen, and we took out apparently some al-Qaeda members. Good for us. But at the same time, there was a car of people coming the other way, and that car of innocent people was blown up. And I said, are you worried, Rick, he's going to be running for president again. I said, are you worried that will, those people are dead, but now they have families and friends of family. And they're all, you're going to hate America now because of that. And he said, well, if you live in Yemen, your number may come up someday. And I go, what a dumbass thing to say. These guys, most of the people living over there, they don't have a choice. Sure, if you could get the hell out of Yemen or Afghanistan, you probably get the hell out of there. I just think that's idiotic. What a dumbass thing for him to say. That's nuts. And I'm not saying, oh, America. I don't want people to misconstrue what I was just saying. I don't want people to say, oh, America is causing people to hate us for these drone strikes or whatever. I'm saying that sometimes we have to think through these strategies and our way of conducting ourselves and think if we're blowing up innocent people, there could be some consequences 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now on that sort of stuff. Matt, I appreciate you coming in telling the story. Good luck with this documentary.
Thank you very much.
Again, you can see Collecting Sgt. Dan Saturday at the Canton Palace Theater. The tickets are absolutely free, but you have to reserve them online at cantonpalacetheater.org. The website is collectingsgtdanmovie.com. Abbreviate Sergeant in that website address with SGT. So collectingsgtdanmovie.com. Matt, Patron, I appreciate you once again coming in, and good luck with this. And thank you for coming in. I know it's difficult. Thank you for coming in and telling the story.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Welcome. I'm going to take a quick break. We will be right back on Rover's Morning Glory and wrap everything up next. Hang on.